Well, let me ask a question, a second question, which I think is very pertinent to the points that you just made. At the same time, Obama had called the huddle inside the White House to make the decision to escalate the situation in Syria. His world was falling apart around him. I'll remind our viewers that at this time last week, during the Friday webcast that we had previous to this one, the news had just broken of the leaks that had been published in The Guardian and The Washington Post about the unprecedented extent of the surveillance state that is being presided over by this president, with the information on the NSA wiretapping and mass trolling, mass dragnet of all of the communications, both telephone and internet, of American citizens. You said at that point last week that we are really on the edge. At this point, the choice is clear. It's either impeach Obama now or face overt dictatorship. What you said is that we've come to a point where Obama has such brutally abused the United States and its citizens and its economy in every imaginable way. There is now a sudden revolt that we have on our hands, and the question is, which comes first? The impeachment of this president or the overt move for direct dictatorship? Now, since that point, there's been a lot that's come in the wake of the revelations of the NSA spying, which obviously was not an isolated scandal, but came in the context of everything else that's been on Obama's plate. Benghazi, the lies surrounding that, the IRS targeting of political enemies, and so forth. Daniel Ellsberg, who was the famous publisher of the Pentagon Papers, responded to the publication of the NSA wiretapping by saying this proves that the United States is now becoming the United Stasi of America, to a point which would make the Stasi, or the secret police of East Germany, green with envy. Now, in the beginning of this week, what was the major discussion is that not only is this an unconstitutional practice, but this is an anti-constitutional practice. This goes at the very heart of what inspired the American Revolution. It was the writs of assistance and the general warrants that were issued by the British royal governors against the people of Massachusetts, undiscriminatory for search and seizure, that inspired the authorship of the Founding Fathers of the Fourth Amendment and the other guarantees of American liberties. Now, this was the major subject of a press conference that I had the opportunity to attend on Capitol Hill yesterday, which was hosted by Senator Rand Paul, together with a nonpartisan group of others at the podium, Representatives Amash, Massey, Mulvaney, Gomert, and Sanford, also with representatives of the ACLU. And they were announcing the Fourth Amendment Restoration Act of 2013, which Senator Paul is entering, an act to stop the National Security Agency from spying on citizens of the United States, which is joined by a bipartisan bill on the House side from Justin Amash of Michigan and Democrat John Conyers, which would have the similar effect. So during the remarks that were made by not only Senator Paul, but also the congressman and the constitutional scholar Bruce Fine, the references were made repeatedly to the violations of liberty that the British royal governors perpetrated before the American Revolution. And the question was posed, have we reached the point now where there's the courage to stand up to defend the principles that this republic was founded on, or have we reached the day in which the American Republic was lost? So, your comments.
Well, the question is whether the members of Congress who act on one occasion or another as gutless wonders and crawling, creeping things, and sometimes show a little guts on an issue, they've got to make up their mind whether the crawlies or the gutless one, the gutless wonders or whatever they are, because What you have the current legislation, which is highly debated in the Congress now and in those circles now, and that thing shows the vote on the votes of members of the Congress, absolutely gutless wonders beyond belief, who actually are supporting a measure which leads toward the extermination of most Americans. And I don't mean the long term, I mean the short term. Because this policy that's been pushed through on this crazy legislation, which is cooked up legislation, is fraudulent. It violates the Constitution. You do not have to stop until you get clearance against a violation of the Constitution. And what Obama has done, or has been done in his name, in behalf of Wall Street, is a violation of the Constitution. Now, somebody in this operation, if it's not the Congress, the Chief Justices of the United States must act to expel or condition the expulsion of Obama from office. It has to be done now. And members of the Senate and members of the Congress who will not vote against the bill, which is operating, the one that's contentious now, if they don't actually throw this thing out, and then their idea of being legal is treason. Sometimes legality is treason. And this is one of the times when people are supporting that damn action. So therefore, we need an angel of mercy to relieve us from those members of Congress who don't know how to vote properly.